My name is Aurelius, the protector of Banishment, a small whaling village on an island off the coast. I lived my life as anyone should. I cared for my friends, loved my family, forgave my rivals, and built a home to be proud of, a home worth protecting. One day, when I was out whaling, the weather was foul, and the gods' whims must have been wrathful that day, for they sent a wave, bigger than the tallest mountain on Banishment, straight towards the tiny island, to seemingly wipe it off the face of existence. In an act of desperation, I turned my small boat and headed straight on for the wave. I wasn't driven by rage, or the lust for glory, or the pride of trying to best a divine being's whim. I was driven by the deepest feeling someone could have. Love. Love for my home. Those rivals I forgave. The friends I cherished, and the family I raised, for they all would surely perish under this Armageddon. So I gripped my harpoon, and I sailed directly into this beast of a wave, and gave up everything I am to protect this beautiful, insignificant village. I gave up my body, and the strength that I built my home with. And I gave up the memories of my life, my friends, my family. They all became strangers passing in my dreams. I gave up everything, down to my soul, and to spare this island, and to stop that beast from taking it away. And now, as the shepherdess takes me, I can only hope that my sacrifice is enough for the unfeeling gods to notice and spare this small village, this small, insignificant village. My name is Aurelius Zeph. I am a mortal, and I am no more.
The rebel child Sindar sought to control and shape the primal passion that flowed throughout the universe. The other gods had no control over this passion and its overwhelming force, leading to many godly disputes. So, Sindar took this passion, shaped it into emotion, and created her son to rule over them. He was called Nevrik. Sindar charged Nevrik with the power of passion, separating it into 5 base emotions: love, fear, anger, joy, and sadness. Each of these emotions were tied to 5 elements: the immovable earth, the flowing water, the burning fire, the fleeting air, and the striking lightning. Each of these elements came together to form Nevrik's home, the catalyst of all emotion, and Nevrik was the key to unlocking all incorporeal sensation in the universe.
And so came midnight, lost in the stars of the fallen people of his world. As a mortal, Midnight was around in the early ages of his land, and was a part of the few that were at the beginning. Midnight's parents were the first to die, leaving Midnight in a state that would lead him to godship, the exploration of death, hoping that he could see his parents again, while also to be the god that understood what took his parents from him. Death itself. Midnight is there to research, study, and ponder what the moment of death will bring to everyone. A worker with all the gods, but closely with Ystävä, leading you through the moment of death and handing you off to Ystävä for the afterlife. On the journey of life, midnight comes when you least expect it. It watches how you make every decision to your last breath. Looking over every soul that reaches death, midnight takes a moment to care for what you have done, what choices you have made, and what has brought you to your final breath. And with that final breath of life you take, midnight will come.
During the birth of Regulus, Uro created with it a messenger who would meet with the Crucible and assist them with the maintenance of this blossoming new reality. I am Ünen, herald of Uro and god of force. In the beginning, my work was primarily with Kirin, assisting with the creation of the elves. Since then, I have continued my mission to help this universe grow and help the gods as they govern it, forever maintaining the vision that Uro had for his creation, and serving as linchpin for the forces of nature in order to maintain equilibrium.
Welcome. Don't be afraid. There's no reason to be. Let me start with telling you a story. Maybe that would make you more comfortable. But please, you're safe. This story is about the first person who died. So, when the first mortal perished, no place had yet to be created for the dead, except for the god sleep. This mortal came to the sepulchre of the gods alone and with no means to return to the worlds of the living. It was not a place for them. Yet, unfortunately, they were there because there was no other place for them to go. Fearing an eternity of nothingness, or worse, being discovered by a not-so-forgiving god, the mortal tore into the ether, desperate to escape. The ether tore back, filling the mortal with the vast potential that Uro gave existence. All that was before and all that would come to be, ripped through the very essence of the mortal's mind and body. But the mortal's will was strong. So strong that once soul and vessel had been consumed by the void, their will remained. From the ether, something began to stitch itself together. The very fabric of the universe, combined with the mortal will to endure, weaved a new being. A friendly face to meet at the edge of eternity. A shepherd to guide souls from what was to what will be. The new god, imbued with the spark the mortal left behind, fashioned a name for themselves. Ystävä. Ystävä carved out a piece of the god's sleep for the perished mortals, for you. Ystävä made it for them to come for a final rest, or to be reborn into the next cycle. And while this creation seems very mystical, some focus on the peace and the comfort the god of the afterlife provides. Others fear the great unknown, which I don't blame them. Unknowns are scary, but a very select few believe there might just be something more to be discovered, even beyond the veil. Maybe one day we'll find out. Welcome to the afterlife. My name is Ystävä.
At the beginning, there was only the void, thought birth, dark drinker, the heart of all magic. It was itself, the expanse of shifting emptiness, simply the before. Centered around this sliver, a fragment of existence itself, the void was everything and nothing, alive, dead, and dreaming, all at once. Then, for seemingly no reason, and yet for every reason, something spawned from the dream of the void. It was a sentient orb of glittering light, energy, and brilliance. Uro, infinite unbound, was born, and simultaneously so too did the essence of the void fold in on itself, imploding, leaving only its dormant shell, the expanse of space itself, visible to its new creation. At the moment of its birth, Uro is said to have had every thought that would ever be had all at once. And once it thought of everything, it became bored by what it found. It decided to change everything by imprinting upon existence its own grand design. Uro channeled all the energy of the infinite nothingness and effectively divided itself in half. One half remained pure, floating, sentient energy, but multiplied in size exponentially. It began to accrue its own gravitational pull, drawing in debris and matter from the corpse of the void, beginning what would later be called a planet. Uro's second half became La, the potter, sculptor of the gods. As Uro sealed its remaining self inside the ball of energy and hardening magma, it spoke to its only daughter thus.
You are La, that which shapes the formless, and from your shapes must come my legacy. With my soul, you will work wonders.
And La, duty-bound, worked wonders. In the first star, made in her afterbirth, she formed a fortress, her home and the home of gods to come, named the Hearth. And in the hearth she built a great wheel, like those we spin our clay upon, but great La, upon it she spun all that is. From the heat and the flame of the hearth itself she sculpted her sons. First came Dami-Ino, hammer of the gods, and without intending to, La gave life to the cold space left in the wake of Dami-Ino's creation, giving him a brother, Vaikstar, the dark between stars.
and so came to be the Brothers Celestial. Dami Ino hammered the myriad stars into light and life, while Vaikstar carved roads between them, linking them together in the bleak quiet. But soon the brothers began to bicker and spat, and their fights would rumble the heavens, and the ball of rock and ambition would seethe, so La would answer. To find balance between their squabbles, La sculpted Aldwin, the Scales Overseer. And as he was built to do, Aldwin stopped the arguments he could before they were even to happen, and the ones that went too far he cleaved in twain with word and might. And for a time, things were quiet. But like her ancestor, even in slumber and respite, La was at work. Her dreams were filled with exploration and passion and movement and life, though life, as we know it, did not yet exist. And her dreams gathered at the wheel all the starfire and the solar winds, and the humming of tectonic plates of the burgeoning planet below, and the liquid ichor that flowed in all of La's children. And from this gathering came Sindar, all that moves, elementalist. Sindar was the rebel child. She did as she pleased, and she in turn pleased very few, but was respected and feared by all, as she built a world for all the elements to flow through at once. In their unity, this family of 5 turned to the now gargantuan ball of elemental fury beneath them, and feeling Uro's will surging through them all, they began to act. Drawing power from the new-birthed planes across the multiverse, these gods imbued the planet with life. The flora thrummed with diluted ichor, which would soon become water and fill. From the flora would come small moving things that would drink of the ichor and change and grow apart over and over and over. Each creature and thing on this planet has a story and a path that leads back to these gods, or the gods to come. But those are stories for other days. When at last the work was done, and the planet was filled, but filled too with chaos, the first family became overwrought. They needed someone to help keep track of all that had come before, and all that was to come, so La spun the wheel one last time, and from this finality sprung Kirahan, archivist of memory. Kirahan was the first of this family, the Crucible, to inhabit the planet and walk it themselves, sheltering under the massive tree formed when they first touched the soil. With this last work done, these gods, this Crucible, looked upon the teeming globe beneath them, and through their ichor heard Uro speak once more.
Witness, Regulus. 'Tis mine, and mine alone, but those who writhe upon it are yours, and yours henceforth. Do what you must, please me, and inasmuch serve yourselves.
And it is here where things begin to unfold which neither Uro nor any of the Crucible could ever expect. A second branch of their family was about to grow and take root, and it is here, with these new gods, that our story will begin.
Hello, welcome in, welcome back, and thank you for joining us for another episode, another weekly installment of Bards of New York, and our second season, the Regulus campaign in its first stage is Regulus Genesis. Lots of interesting story beats we're in the middle of today that we will see how it pans out, but before we get to any of that and dive deep back in, just a couple of quick announcements. First, again, on the regular end, always, if you haven't and you're hearing it for the first time somehow, definitely go check out our Discord. There should be links below somewhere beneath us. That's just where we, again, keep in touch throughout the week, and
where all of you guys can not only give us suggestions, but just have a hub, a place to stop and stay a while and chat. And again, if you feel so inclined, you can always throw a subscription towards us on Twitch, because then there are little pockets of the Discord, little subscriber access only things to jump into. And I think that's sort of our general gist here. Hannah, any thoughts on your end? Any interesting things?
I will be guesting on Legend of Alos's Twitch stream this coming Sunday, and maybe a following week after that. We'll see if they don't kill my character.
It's not your brother DMing, so you should be okay.
I will be there at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's noon Pacific Time. We'll be sharing the information on our feeds as well. It's a really, really fun time over there on their Twitch stream as well, and they're really talented and really lovely. I'm very excited and a wee bit nervous, but like it's a good nervous. It's giving me an edge. But yeah, come over there on Sunday afternoon to support our friends and support me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Legends of Elos, they've been a group that's been supporting us since the very, very beginning. They are good folk and good people, so if you don't know them, you definitely owe it to yourselves to check them out, really. Only other thing to say, honestly, again, as always, we are, still learning, as everyone is, but this is, the Bards of New York process is evolving and growing, and one of the things that we're looking at as part of our sort of goals, our stretch goals as a group, is to look at some upgrades for our stream setup, and I think primarily the first thing we're going at is our backdrops, because while these curtains have served their purpose dutifully and well for the initial time period here, not only do we always trip ourselves up on them every single time we set them up, but we think we could just get them a bit flashier, spice them up. So that's our goal. If one was to put a financial goal on it, that's our, I think, number one port of call. So if anyone ends up feeling generous, know that any funds that ever get thrown the Bards of New York way get put into a special vault somewhere within the digital recesses of the ether, and those curtains, the backdrop, would be the first thing to be upgraded with such funds.
You can also tip us too. Hashtag show us your tips. Show us your tips.
Not this early, guys. We're just starting. We're just getting warmed up.
If not now, then when, Will? If not now, then when?
I guess so. When whichever one of you violates Godwin again, that's the only other appropriate time.
I have done nothing.
He was consenting.
Please. I didn't say it was non-consensual violation. He went for it. He got down on one knee, if not both.
Arguable, though. You were deceiving him, so that made
This is open
I
and
was not
ethical.
deceiving him. I was exactly who he needed to see in that moment.
Not a lie was told. Not a lie was spoken.
All Ystäva did was take off her hood.
I did not say I pretend to be law.
Yeah.
Just took my hood off.
Absolutely. That's all that was done. Right, before we zoom back down to the world of Regulus Prime, it's that time again. We got to start things off with a tasteful pick of the cards. And Drew, I believe it is your turn to select our fates. So, go for it here.
I feel like this is more select the fate of Brighthorn.
Yeah,
Sure,
select the fate
sure.
of all these people. Soulless?
The Hierophant, yeah.
What does that mean?
Etymologically,
I've never heard the word.
the Hierophant is always a tricky one. Sort of in nature, right? And that's kind of why they've gone for this. The easiest way to sum it up is basically confirmation bias, right? A walking confirmation bias. The deciding that your belief is the correct belief. Progress, but at your own sake.
Flat earthers.
Yeah, kinda. Or, a very self-assured religious leader could be described as a Hierophant, and that's the quality with which this card brings us
Like
today.
Tyro in the Church
I would
of Sacrifice.
I would say that, holy shit, that is actually fucking poignant as fuck.
Yeah.
So, the Hierophant comes to call, or rather, you come to call upon the Hierophant here as we return to the town of Brighthorn in the world of Regulus Prime. Last week, it was a fairly exploratory session. You were greeted into the town of Brighthorn by a sort of gaggle of fairly vacant villagers, right? Sort of simple folk, simple seafaring folk who got ready to trade their wares with their local trader, Ilreard, as you were all welcomed by Tyro, the sort of elderly leader of this church known as the Order of Sacrifice. And you sort of took stock of the town before Ystava. You really took the lead on approaching him and chatting with him a little bit before things sort of changed. You convinced Tyro that you were from, quote-unquote, the guild, and under that guise sort of got Tyro to spill the beans on what they were doing there a little bit and got you guys some places to stay while still maintaining your godly visages. And then, with the words that you shouldn't go out after dark, like one shouldn't feed gremlins after dark, you were left to your own devices, which was Tyro's first and fatal mistake. We sort of divided and conquered here. Ystävä, you spent your focus firstly on dealing with this devotee of the sun, Godwin, this armed individual in the chapel, before then going on your own little Scooby-Doo mystery and finding the desiccated form of Yui, with whom you returned, sealed yourself away up in the roof room of the church, and warned your comrades here, your divine comrades. Nevrik, you initially ventured out with Ünen and were sort of flying above Brighthorn and the Isles of Brighthorn as a Pegasus, sort of gauging things, and when things began to snowball and these specters began to rise, you took action, grabbed Godwin, reinvigorated by a meeting with Ystävä, by the tabard, and are now sort of flying him away from the source of danger. And Ünen, as Ystävä had plucked Yui from her imprisonment, shall we say, you discovered where the specters, or the source of that spectral energy, was originating from. This mound, this large buried mound of barely living bodies, whom you separated apart a large chunk of before reaching out with your godly powers and wrenching Godwin from his slumber, or from his abode at least, to grab him by the throat, effectively, where we found that Tyro was much... Wait, did I say Godwin a moment ago? No, either here or there. You found Tyro. He looked much younger, much more swole, perhaps. And this is where we find everything happening, right? You're up in the roof of the church. Nevrik, you're, I believe, heading towards the roof of the church with Godwin. You've got Tyro by the throat and holding up these sort of twitching bodies that are starting to grow strange, almost filament-like appendages reaching towards each other, sort of tugging against your force. And this, in this sort of shoddy scenario, is where we will begin today. So your actions, Ünen, in separating those corpses and disrupting that burial mound, even somewhat, has stopped, for now, the specters, or those spectral energy spikes from appearing all across Brighthorn. But of course, you're dealing with a rather different issue here. And what were Tyro's last words to you? The stars.
Something.
They rotate and they fall.
Dark side.
And we will gladly.
something. Complete.
Great. Yeah. Check plus. Lunatic babbling, basically, about the stars and sacrificing oneself.
The stars.
So, things are tense and things are moving, and they will not stay in this limbo, in this calm before the storm, for too long. So I task each of you with one act of, or one set of movement or action from each of you to see how far this will progress before the pieces that are already in motion keep moving. And in your case, Ünen, that is literal, right? These pieces of human form or humanoid form that you held suspended are twitching and actively moving all at once. So, I will start, unless there is anybody wants to jump in. If not, I will start with Nevrik, since you are already in motion. Okay? So most recently you've heard Ystävä call to you, that she was up there and was sealing Yui away. And you're up in the air, already in motion, with Godwin flailing below you. Let me actually... Okay. Yep. What do you want to do?
So the first thing I'm going to do is take Godwin as he's in my mouth and just kind of like throw my neck and try to throw him onto my back in midair.
Can I get a quick dex check?
Yeah.
Please.
This is the second time that he's been elevated today.
You take me higher. A 10?
A 10?
You just fling him over your You were trying to like do like a behind the back pass to somebody, but like completely
I'll
misjudged.
say, given that he is not in the best state of mind at the moment, you fairly nimbly, it's a little bit of a rough landing, he sort of flings halfway at cross purposes over the back of your body, landing on the stomach with an audible grunt, but he is firmly across the long way of your back.
And then I don't speak, I say it telepathically because I'm a horse. And there are some things that I just don't want to hear a horse speak right now. I don't know, that's weird. No, so I telepathically, telepathically I communicate with him, and I just say, hold on tight. And I'm going to fly as fast as I can toward the tower, and just land on top, and then send a message to Ystävä saying I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely. You hear sort of, not necessarily words from behind you, just like, oh! Just like bare, semi-conscious grunting from somewhere on your back, but you feel your fur being grasped a little bit on one side of your flank, and you soar over to the roof, sort of clattering on top of the pretty shitty wood thatching up there. Really, it buckles a little bit beneath your feet, but it holds your weight, and you can hear it above you. There's like sound of sudden and clattering hoofbeats on the roof.
Ystävä, I sending this. Ystävä, I'm here with Godwin. Could you let me in?
Are you going to bring Godwin with you?
Yes.
Is he a threat?
No.
Fine, come in quickly.
Okay.
Before I go in, I'm gonna morph back. Well, I'm just gonna slough him off, and then I'm gonna morph back into.
Just still in your mouth.
Gently.
And morph back into my planeswalking form.
Okay. You sort of land, sort of gently slough him off, and shift back. And as you're getting your bearings on your planeswalking feet, for lack of a better term, you can see that he is not doing so well. He has not gotten up from where you sloughed him onto the roof. He is not like injured necessarily, but his eyes are a little rolled back in his head, and he's just sort of lying there. Looks a little green around the gills.
All right, so I'll go over to him. I'm gonna help you up. Come with me. Do not be afraid.
What is happening? Please.
I am trying to save you from harm. Just come with me. All will be made clear.
He like pukes a little bit, just like a bit of bile.
Gross.
Wipes it.
Let's kill him.
Okay. Okay.
And I kind of help him up, and I put his arm over my shoulder, and we descend downward.
You go down that ladder.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get brought down the ladder, and this sort of blends neatly into you here. Is there anything that you've been doing before this would have happened?
I want to put my hands on Yui's head and see if I can, like, in that same, like, incepting kind of power, just, like, glimpse what's inside her head, or glimpse, like, memories of what's been done to her.
Just sort of like open the doorways, right? Like open yours and open hers in the same like passageway, basically. Love it, absolutely. That's as you might expect an Ystävä check.
Which dice is gonna fuck
And I'll say, as you're reaching towards her and sort of just linking your senses to hers, you can feel that the borders, the edges of her mental space and the magic that everyone carries, that all life carries, they're very, very fragile and almost mutable. That she seems to have very, very few metaphysical boundaries around her personage at all.
28.
28? Absolutely. You just reach out, feeling that sort of not volatile, but malleable edge of her mental being, and you allow your senses to intermingle with her own and just bridge a gap between the pair of you. And it doesn't last terribly long. It's not like you're, fully mind linking with her. But you get a lot of different imagery at once. There's an imagery of like this sharp red light, and that's almost an internal image. You can feel that image coursing throughout her and almost drawing pain from around her, within her. It's just like this physicalized anguish, basically, that you can see and sense. And then you could just feels like her vision has been put through a fly-eyed lens. Like there are a bunch of different fractalized versions of things that you can feel that she sees. And almost all of these flickering images link to this intrinsic sense of terror about something falling or something crashing. There is a fear of the precipice.
Ooh, okay. And that's all I get?
Depends on if that's sort of the general sense. If you had any particular thought as you were mingling with her.
With my hands on her head, I close my eyes as well. And I want to look at those images and find the one that's linked to something falling, and I want to go into that image and then look up and see if I can see what it is that's falling.
I love it. You just sort of allow your sense to buckle inwards and through, almost as if you were pushing into her thought and her memory. Okay. And as you sort of just extend your senses a little further, you hear this raggedy breath, as you've been sort of there, only vaguely conscious. As you push further, you hear a breath sort of catch, and her eyes glitter with just like iridescence, with light, with energy. And in this contact between the pair of you, and you sort of linking your thoughts with hers, that dream that you begin to enter, or that image, shifts through her mind and through her skin even, as the boards of this room buckle and break away as the image of the dream expands into this space. The floorboards become oddly impressionist, like blades of grass flickering in a field of wood. The shadows in the room become wreathed into a canopy of faux starlight above you as reality becomes completely indistinguishable for a moment from this image. And this facsimile of the dream that you were, or memory that you were piecing through for her, and looking up with just this pressure from above you. It's as if the ceiling is tinged with this poor woman's fear. It feels like it's pushing down and coming down on top of you until you just turn your gaze further and push your powered divine focus upwards. The wood paneling of shadow and starlight breaks away and reveals this brilliant, massive comet, seemingly miles away and all at once terribly close, hurtling down with ice and the unknown.
Did you see that?
You've probably just come in the door.
No, what'd you see?
I don't know if it's real. There's something coming for this world. At least that's what you think. At least that's probably what these people think.
As you've retracted from her thought, the room seems fairly normal again, though there's that pressure around, and both of you can feel it. It's as if you had blinders on and the blinders were being pushed tighter and tighter at your temples. Yui is now again sort of curled up on the floor, limbs too long for her body, shuddering there. Can I see Mum, please? Where did she go?
The skull-faced woman?
Mum, where did my mum go?
Is your mother Luna?
I don't know. I don't know, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're safe. We will not hurt you. I take off my hood.
She doesn't change at all.
Okay.
And it's hard to... In fact, what's your passive perception?
Not great. It's 16.
16? That's fine.
Really great.
That's more than fine. For the first time, and you don't know whether this is due to disease, cataracts, or something else, it's like she doesn't...
See?
You don't feel perceived in the same way. Like, you could try to Ystäva sense her, what she was seeing, and you wouldn't get much.
What's going on out there?
It is, well, many things. Currently, the Earth is risen. Ünen is holding the southern isle up with his own will, and also is confronting Tyro, I'm pretty sure, but that's what I saw last on my way. I had to save Godwin from that, because...
You took your hood down, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hear a thunk next to you, this like heavy metal thunk.
Oh, fuck.
As
Cock hitting
Godwin has taken his arm off of you and is now down on one knee on the ground, one knee up, and he's like got his head down, like shuddering in place, barely holding himself up. Your divine grace, you do us too much honor, right? Showing your presence in such dark times. May we please receive benefaction of your light once more.
Oh no.
I've created a monster.
It's a devout monster.
Be still.
He just fully tenses every muscle in his body. Yes, your grace.
But you told me to freeze.
I found Yui down in some kind of ritualistic chamber, tied up. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if law is involved, or if it's Uro, or if it's just these people, but we need answers.
Well, I think maybe Godwin can help us.
I let a little bit of my godliness
just flare, yeah.
Godwin?
He again, tensed and struggling against his own malfunction. Gets both knees on the ground now and does almost a salam to you before. What needest thou, your grace?
You may think you know who I am. You may think you understand the power I possess, but you have not but scratched the surface. You will tell me everything that has gone on in this city, everything that everyone's planning, and you will tell it to me quickly.
By your command, your grace, I have ensured these people enact your righteous will. And he turns over his shoulder, sort of gets up on one knee, sort of actively not looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
He's somehow completely just overridden the fact that you were a horse a couple moments ago, because this is a bigger deal. And he takes this small, almost Christmas ornament-sized flask full of shimmering, like rusty gold liquid, and he just uncorks it, takes it like a shot, and you see all the veins in his neck stand up, and his eyes get really bloodshot, and his pupils go really wide, and he stands up, again keeping a little bit of deference away from you. He turns over his shoulder to look down towards Yui. She was Brighthorn's guiding light, as I understand it. And it was your will, your grace, to see her visions through till their end. Such as the great people of Brighthorn would have it done. It is their belief that she guides a new path, whether she knows it or not, towards greater potential for our kind. To bring us closer to the grace of your own.
What of this comet?
That is what must be done. Like all we may aspire to be, it is an emissary of yours, of great light.
Is that something I told you, or is it something that you've all decided to believe?
It is what they believe. You have not spoken to them. No, I am your cherished one. I alone can speak with the sun. And it is in such benefactions that you deigned me right enough to make sure this path was set in stone. I ask not questions of their methods here, for you did not have me ask them. And he turns actually, and he gets down on his knees again, but this time sort of leaning towards Yui, who is basically barely here, right? There's something, when you are speaking to her, it seems like she is aware and can connect, but she is absolutely in her own head, if we can even call it that. So she's disassociating, looking at the wall just in the corner of things, shuddering, as Godwin, riled up Godwin, gets down and sort of like brushes the wisps of her hair on the back of her head. It will be finished soon, child. The work closes in. You may be at peace.
I want to know the plan. All of it. Right now, or I will flatten this settlement. And you will never gaze upon me again.
Grace, please. I am but a humble servant of the light. Your divine light. I am not a man of plan and schemes. I am not like those who ride from the east. I am simply a servant. And I do as I am commanded. And I was commanded to ensure these people saw it to the end. That is all. I have been posted here for some 15 seasons. And each season we grow close.
My child. I have changed my mind. This is not what I want. I am here to change things and to give you a new direction.
Again, him still like in reverence. The pair, or rather Nevrik, you can see him like his eyes sort of open, twitching at the corners a little bit, while still in prayer. What would you have it changed to, Your Grace?
Compassion. We will no longer torture children for information, for some proverbial greater good. and we will snuff out those who still believe that that is a just and right thing to do.
Roll me a thick with at least a Q persuasion check.
A thick. Oh no. Okay. Persuasion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait. It's okay. 18.
18. He still held there. Is it not compassion as it stands, Your Grace? Is your light not warm enough to grasp us all? This sweet child opened their gaze and allowed us to see the roads you bared, and their sacrifice, their great work, allows us to tread in your glory. Is that not the greatest passion? Please, we are but close, Your Grace.
I am all-knowing, and I will change my mind as I see fit. And you must not question me.
Let's kill this fool. He doesn't know shit.
He stands up, initially still in prayer, before, like, twitching and looking at you. Eyes, like, literally, there's, like, sort of rivulets of, like, tears, steam, and a little blood streaking out of his eyes. He's almost sunburnt to look at what he sees as you. I must stand my ground. I will not falter in the task I was given. And he pulls his sword out and lodges it into the wood before wrenching it up again. I am a champion of the light. Sun, guide me.
Somebody stop him.
And he flares his arm up for a second.
Oh, I am gonna cast Banishment.
Yeah! Okay.
I don't know where he's going, but he's going.
He's going somewhere. Okay. What's the save?
That would be a
Cuckload.
23 to save.
23 whiz.
Mm-hmm. I believe so. Let
That's
me
a
check
crazy
the
save.
Banishment.
Eight.
Yeah.
It
So
would be 8 plus.
Is it 8
7.
or? Oh, I did 10. So
It's
sorry.
8 plus
It's
7, which is 15.
So it's what, 2 less than
and
that?
then
So
6,
21.
So 21.
I don't do math.
Still, guys. 21 for the spell save.
It's a charisma saving throw.
Okay.
But it's still
Okay, he's
21.
okay at that. He's okay at that. Not okay enough. he like flares his arm up, and there's a brief flash of light from his fingertips, and the part of the portion of the roof above him starts to splinter and crack with some force. But you basically just say like, away. And he is briefly like, you know, at the end of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, when he's like, you are free now, and the ghosts sort of go and vanish away. You know, it's a little quicker than that, and with sort of like twilight, it wreaths over him, and he just like is gone, completely gone for, I believe, a minute. Can you give me 1 second to look up banishment?
I have it here. What's your question?
It just
do
happens
you
random.
determine where he goes, or does it say he goes to like a little shitty pocket demi-plane?
It's a harmless demiplane. While there, the target is incapacitated. The target remains there until the spell ends,
Okay.
at which point the target reappears in the space left or in the nearest unoccupied space.
Yeah, and if they're from a different plane, they go back there.
He will come back.
He is drifting in God sleep, basically, in a curled fetal position, just like floating there.
Good.
You have 60 seconds pause for 1 second because we're about to get in. We're in like a time zone. I want to see what you're doing before this because this feels very domino effecty at this point.
Also, thank you, Raiders, for coming.
Yeah, hello.
Skull, who do we have?
Marquee Gaming.
Fabulous.
Marquee.
Welcome. Thank you for the raid.
I didn't want to interrupt. You were talking about the dreams of you in
Gotcha. I appreciate that. So, I would say a good like 2/5, maybe more, of the bodies that you can see inhabiting this mound are up in the air, twitching and like writhing with these little tendrils, these rotten reddish tendrils piercing from their skin and wriggling out. Again, they're sort of impeded a bit by you holding them there, but they are growing. And you've got this rapturous young Tyro, still in his tattered, very almost devout garments, these like grey robes with the pendant over his neck, but visibly beefier and younger. What are you doing?
Still like trying to like bore into his eyes with my like literally like glowing nebulous eyes. Alright. I just look at him and I say, what is the meaning of this?
He like literally steam is coming off of him just from the intensity of your like godly pressure there looking at him.
Ark of the Covenant, this motherfucker.
Please, you don't know the glory. We are so close to reaching it. Your power. Oh, I got too rapturous there.
Too rapturous.
Nice.
Oh no.
Go, Drew.
We just
need to.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
I think.
Great.
Yeah.
Your power. I can taste it. Let me. And he he's supposed to like lick at your hand down below him. Please. I can feel it. You're one of them, aren't you? You belong to their kind. Give it to me. Give it to me, please.
These fucking freaky ass humans.
In a swift motion. And you can tell me what I need to roll. While still trying to maintain what's going on, I, by his throat, toss him a little bit in the air.
Yeah.
Reach down, grab my flail, wrap it around him, hopefully his neck still, and then plummet him to the ground.
Finish him.
Yeah, like just like
Damn, scorpion stuff.
So I'm gonna need
like meteor slam.
I'm gonna need 3 rolls from you. We're gonna do the throw. We're gonna do the grab.
Yeah. Which
no,
would be
that's
an
it.
attack.
That's it. Yeah. So it's gonna be I'm gonna need just basically an athletics check. Again, I'm not.
That's
It's the alley and the
that.
Yeah, exactly. The alley and the oop.
Yeah.
That is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
So I rolled an 8. My athletics is plus 23.
Okay, so that's a 32.
That's a
No, 31.
31.
31. Oh god, the 1 point.
It is, yeah.
How do you? Oh, the belt. The belt.
I have a 29 strength, and I have expertise in athletics.
That's a fighter for you. So a fighter god, a god of fighters. So you like want. You don't let him go that far, but as you push him, there's a sound that even you guys can hear in the church. That's like a thunderclap as Tyro briefly breaks the sound barrier as he's launched. Like before he's even that far down, the thing goes up. As your flail is extending with those links of like energy and ether, you hear Tyro flying up in the air. Roll me the attack.
That's a.
We all gotta die.
22.
Making a good case
Or
for
I'm sorry. 32.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. His AC was a what?
Low.
Was low. Wasn't good. Yeah, it was a 12.
He's wearing
It was a 12.
priestly robes.
He was. Yeah. So you just as he's laughing.
Oh
down.
Goodness.
Oh, that's what the third check was. I need a concentration for holding the dudes up while your rage is like pinpointed on this guy.
Okay.
I knew it was something. It just wasn't on him. That's important for.
Wow. I haven't played a caster in a little while. What is concentration?
Concentration is a.
It's a constitution.
You just have to
Where's-
roll
yeah.
above a 10.
It's a
No,
constant.
That's for spell slave DC.
No,
No.
she's right.
Okay.
You
It's,
have to roll
it's
above a 10.
12.
12. Yeah, you're fine. So you keep him held up, but you and just slam him down into the. You got a 30
32.
on the athletics.
31.
31. So that's going to be okay. As you slam him down into the pit, I'm going to need the damage for the attack
Oh, Jesus.
plus 3d10 falling damage.
I'm unprepared, but I'm here.
I've got plenty of dice for you.
I need. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just go little grandpa. I need one more. Where's the last one?
Oh, there we go. All right. All right. So. That, and I'll do the math again. I think that's another 32 overall.
What did you get?
So that's, 12, 14, 16, 25, 32.
32?
32
Okay,
points
let
of
me just
damage.
write that down. Perfect. Yeah, you slam him down into the pit. Just like you hear the sound of other bodies breaking, him shattering as he hits the ground, as you, I assume, retract the thing.
Yeah.
As he hits the ground, there is a little ripple of almost like little vein-like crackles of red lightning from his impact site across some of the corpses in the ground. And they begin to almost like magnetize themselves towards Tyro. And you can see his top half is still mostly unexposed by these bodies, just like battered. There's an eye that's now missing an eyelid, blood trickling from his mouth. Oh, what glorious pain. Please, give me a taste again. We have but moments until it all pays off. And he pushes himself off the corpses, and the corpses come with him, almost like fusing to his chest and lower half. So he's got, his legs seem to grow and extend and become made out of these bodies. I can feel it now, as he licks some of his own blood off his mouth.
Ew.
You are one of them. A divine being. Tell me. As he pulls himself further, more bodies accruing to him as he goes. You are divine. What do you feel of our worship to you that goes so unanswered? Please, I must know. Does it taste delectable?
This person. Oh. There's no reasoning with anyone in this fucking town. You ever heard of that's like self-defense strategy of just like, all right, if somebody's trying to attack you, just start acting really weird.
Just like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah, exactly. That, and they're kind of just
That's
like,
what he's doing.
So I'm just like, I don't know. I wouldn't even know what to say.
If you don't speak, he's just gonna keep speaking.
Okay.
Please don't let that happen.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Apologies for the siren that's coming by. Gang. Hashtag NYC.
Gucci. Somebody's
Hashtag
being
Bards
saved.
of
We have to
New
remember.
York.
Yeah, right.
Somebody is being saved. You're right.
In theory.
In theory, right?
Let's hope it's not somebody using the siren privilege for themselves. He continues to raise himself, but just like accruing more mass. All of you, you gods, you choose not to hear us, our prayers. But what is worship to a wish? That is the most delicious morsel. A wish come true lends our own voice to the power of creation. And as he raises his hands up, the little horned necklace still there raises with him, crackling with this red light that shoots down into more of these corpses, dragging them to his arms, which become hobbled masses of legs as fingers and, fingertips as a wrist. Just this awful contraption. A wish would make us equal to the gods! And as he holds his arms up, there's a single bolt of red light that shoots up from him. You, upstairs in the roof, Yui, her head tilts back and her eyes crackle with light, this red essence for a moment before she drops back down again. And for you outside, way up through the clouded night sky, the clouds part at the lightning bolt. And this one bristling star in the fundament is revealed, and it flares. We are not necessarily in combat, but since you already have 60 seconds, let's enter initiative.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I am a healer, so should go last.
I rolled a natural 20.
Are you literally joking, my guy?
No.
Well, I have advantage.
Again, so we can, if you're feeling feisty and end up fighting, that's fine. We'll stay in combat, and we don't necessarily have to function by combat rules just yet. This is just keeping us in the 6-second moment time frame, just to keep us on track with this, the banishment.
Yep.
Okay. So let me just roll my
Got 10
two folks. Okay, for me that is a. But that's a what? Okay. Okay, and then on my other end we have a. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Cool. Anybody get above? Well, you got a nat 20, right? Okay. So we start with Nevrik. What was your total?
23.
23, okay. Anybody got above 20?
I'm sure you got higher than I did.
19.
19.
You
Okay.
rolled a 4 and you got a 19?
I have advantage, so I rolled
Oh,
a 12. Sorry. No.
And Ishtava?
I got a 9.
A 9? We love to hear it. Okay. I will say, for you, Ishtava, who was the one who called out, you can just have that radiating divine sense, the godly sense, already pinging off of these two moments. At the top of the third round, our called for friends will be arriving from their
Gotcha.
respective locations.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, you've just seen Yui have that sort of flare-up moment, and on top of that, Godwin's just been banished. Nevrik, what are you up to? You can hear something like muffled yelling outside, but it's hard to tell what's going on without being outside yourself.
Yui is on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
writhing, or is she
She's
just?
just like shuddering now. It
Okay.
doesn't seem that much different from her before, but there was just like a split second where she had that moment, that freak out, that burst of energy.
This comet that you saw, Ystävä, was it coming now?
I don't know. I don't know, but I think La has answers that we need. I think she's been up to something and has not been telling anyone about it. And she's playing God while we're just faffing about.
Interesting.
It was Ystäva who told us about this place. And Ystäva can't come down here. La can't. Can she?
I don't think she can come down here.
All right. This idiot is going to come back soon. Do I kill him?
No, he could be valuable.
All right, I have a plan. I have a plan when he comes back.
Okay. I'm going outside. I'm just gonna keep a watch on the sky. See if I can do anything. If a comet is coming, it could potentially destroy Regulus as a whole. So
Right.
I'm going out to see if I can do anything about it.
Call if you need me.
Okay.
Hylan and Midnight are on their way.
That's right. Okay, yeah. So then I'll go back up the ladder, and I'm just gonna go out onto the tower and just look at, maybe roll a perception check then, I guess, for look around to see if something is coming that maybe, or even feel it or something.
Yeah. I mean, you step out of the church and out of Ystäva's sealed boundary here, and as soon as you're on the top of the tower, not only do you see Ünen, like, radiating energy, this, like, halfway built corpse mechazord, basically, standing there in the pit, with a young version of Tyro hoisted in the middle of it, and you more see it than feel it. Or more feel it than see it, rather. You were right on it. From above you, there's this, like, pinging needle of sense, and it actually feels familiar and good, and it's sort of, like, resounding. You feel like you're reverberating under this pinprick of light that's sort of bristling and glowing above you. Don't mind me.
You have a mode of inspiration.
Mode. It's more than just a river round a castle.
That was good.
Yeah, that's
That was
very
nice.
nice.
That was nice. You had the Rat Pack, this is the Fort Pack.
Welcome to the Fort Pack.
The Castle Crooners. So, you doing anything else, or just, like, keeping watch and taking stock of that?
Yeah, I want to wait until it seems like. Well, I don't know if I can do anything right now, so I'm just gonna wait.
Okay.
So I'm gonna keep an eye on it, and then
Kill now, ask questions later.
actually,
They'll just end up in here.
Unen seems to be handling his situation.
He doesn't seem stressed.
Okay, then I'll stay here, and if either of those two things end up going awry, I'm either gonna go there or one or the
Roll me a
other.
quick perception check.
Okay. 20.
20, what you notice more, for better or for worse, throughout the bulk of the main island of the town, and specifically the eastern or the northern isle, people are watching. They're in their houses, their huts, but through the little carved, like, openings that they've got, not even windows really, they're, like, peering through and just staring at everything going on at the south isle.
Unen as a god and a weird human beast.
You know, bodies are floating.
Cool,
You
yeah.
tend to watch.
Cool, yeah, it's just, you know.
Nights were bad here
Yeah.
anyway, and this night got louder for them than usual, right?
You're like, wait.
Hang on a second. Entertainment, dinner, and a show? Okay.
Yeah, I'll just keep watch.
Great, and you're basically, like, ready in case things, like, get bad, you're gonna... Okay.
Yeah.
Ünen.
With Nevrik still radiating anger, if I remember correctly.
Absolutely, yes.
It affects the already, like, toiling anger within Ünen. And he just says, "You want to feel my power?" And I'm gonna go to town on this motherfucker.
Great.
First attack, I want to do it as like the ties that binds grapple feature of like being able to throw in and pull. I want to get him specifically
and try and wrench him out of the
what he's doing.
Dope. Okay, roll for the attack first.
That's more than 12. That's 26.
Well, his AC has taken. Oh no, it's actually worse now. I misread my own stats. It's considerably worse.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a big target now, right? So you just it like slashes through some of the corpses as it goes that form his body or form his extremities really, and it whips around his torso again, and you hear him, "Yes, more." Roll the damage. Because that does do.
It doesn't do damage.
Oh, this is the. Yeah,
it's either
okay.
damage or pull. But I mean, that was attack 1.
Yeah.
As I rip him towards me.
Let me just see how much of him is. He crit failed. So you you hear a wet schlucking sound, and you wrench him out of there. The corpses stay up. But immobile, still sort of flickering with that red light, as he flies across towards you.
As he's coming towards me, pulling back, bonus action, God Core becomes the shield, and shield bashes him on his way in.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, okay. This is like a God of War combo.
Oh,
Getting all the combos.
Wombo combo.
I feel like that's what fighters in D&D have to do, right?
Yeah.
Just like string combos together, as the
because it's either that or it's me going, I hit him,
right,
hit him again.
Right. But it's like if you ever play the Batman games, right? You press one button to do a combo, but it's always the stylish, exactly. And I'm really right with you there. So yeah, you're pulling him in, and he's screaming and soaring as you're just gonna wallop him in the face.
Yeah.
I believe that the forming is a bonus action.
Yes.
Great, perfect. So go for that second attack.
That's a 25.
Yeah, it's gonna hit like a truck. His armor class is increased now that he's no longer part of his big form, but
oh, good. Good for
it's
him.
not increased that much. He's still a priest.
He's still wearing cotton.
He's basically wearing a towel or a couple of towels.
Jesus Christ. I hate this person.
I hate this town.
Yeah. Me too.
And I think I hate Hylan because of it.
Hate Aurelius, not
Hylan's
Titan. Not Hylan, rather.
That's gonna be. Sorry, 20. No. Wow, my brain's not ready for maths today. Yeah, 22 points of damage.
22 points. Okay, sure. Just like. And I assume you're detaching the flail.
Yeah.
As it goes.
So that it
the ties that bind stop binding.
Like comes back behind
sort of
me.
like flattens on the ground. Yeah, and he's prone as fuck too. So how much did you say it was? 20 something?
22.
22, perfect. Excellent. Yep, you can hear his teeth shatter as you hit him into the shield, and he falls down.
He's on the ground.
Yeah, he's on the ground.
Fucking this is from the ties that bind, just like slant, like right into his chest,
Just like
to
a
whip
wallop.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Whip it good.
I think you have advantage since you're within 5 feet and he's prone as hell.
Diggity
That
dang.
is like kinky and not a healthy way. Like there's masochism and then there's this.
30.
30, yeah, that more than doubles his AC. So, you know what his AC was? Well, never mind. I won't tell you.
I do want to know eventually.
We'll get there.
19 points of damage.
19? Okay.
Does he still breathe?
He's sputtering blood, but yes, yes. But he is still very much alive and wild-eyed as ever. That his pendant, the bullhorn pendant, is literally glowing with that crackling red light. It's like if veins were filled with LED glow stick juice instead of blood.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna hit him again.
You'll see all this.
I might do something. I might do something different next turn, but I'm already in the middle of it. After it hits down, comes back, circles around him, and then just slams it back down.
Just brutal. Okay.
Nevrik's just
watching with the opera glasses from the.
Yes.
A palpable hit.
Nice.
24 to hit.
Yeah, that's exactly double his AC.
Jolly good show.
Another 19 points of damage.
Another 19 points of damage. Yep.
19.
That takes him to.
Do you want me to roll concentration on all of the bodies? As well?
If you would like to.
I think it's fair.
Great.
It's a lot going on.
As you're giving into the rage more than anything else, because I think as a god you're able to do more than one thing at once. But yes, go for it. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I rolled an 18, so we're good.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
You are clear. You know when you get angry, but everything's clear.
Yeah, it's just everything goes like cold and crispy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That adrenaline hits and you're like.
It's me at Grand Central Station when I get off at work. Trying to get from the 6 to the 7. It's like I can see the math, and if somebody gets in my way, well.
Sorry,
they were taking up the same space.
It's that Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie that came out when we were in high school, where he's riding a bike and he can like see the path.
Oh, you mean Brick, the masterpiece?
Is that what it's called?
But if it's the one where he's like a high school detective.
No, he's like an actual ass like bike cop, right?
I don't remember. I used to be. This is a conversation for later.
For the chat, Joseph Gordon-Levitt in a bicycle-centric.
Because I remember him on a bike as like a high school cop looking out druggies in high school.
No, it was when we were in high school, so he was an adult at that point.
Oh, okay. It's got it. Yeah. I'd love to know.
Have a motive
You have a motive of inspiration, and you have a motive of inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah, it's again the combo counter is ticking up, and you know when you reach a certain threshold in the combo and the number starts to like set on fire a little bit.
Oh no, I'm
you're
sorry.
You're in the like glowing finisher breaker moment, and you're getting a kick out of this, and you're feeling the presence from the comet, right? Okay, hit me.
Finish him.
Action surge.
It'll make midnight come faster because somebody's on the brink of death.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Check plus. Yes. Okay. Action surge.
Yeah.
You get your full round action back as you're just seeing him like more, please, and you are willing to oblige.
I will. He's gonna get a special room in the afterlife.
He made up the room.
For the
this is
nasty
when
boys.
this is when you make Tartarus.
Yeah.
You're gross. Okay. Let's not have that mixed with anyone else,
No.
shall we?
I didn't know I was saving a door for you, but I
But
am.
turns out, lucky you.
Natural 19.
Yeah, it's gonna naturally clap. It's gonna go for it.
Let's to be fully transparent. That's a 38.
Does that feel good to say?
A 38 to hit or a 38 to?
It's a 38.
Oh, natural 19, 38 to hit. Yeah, that's over 3 times his armor class.
I'm killing this man.
That's like 12.
12.
Oh my goodness.
17.
What I was
points.
gonna say is when he was in the flesh form, it was down to a 7.
17 points of damage.
17. Okay. What does that take us to? 1.
That's like negative armor class. I feel like.
It was. Yes, it was a negative armor class. You said 17 points of damage. My brain math is not working as well as it should. There we go. How do you want to do this?
Is it too much to ask for this hit to be on the necklace that he has?
Nope. Not too much to ask at all.
Considering that is the thing that is emanating the power, and I want him to shut the fuck up anyway, so I'm just aiming for his fucking neck. Yeah, I want it to be another, like after the 2 hits down, seeing that he's still, like, just seeing how, for the first time, truly how horrific and evil Oro's creation can be. Ünen just, like, inhales and then just He's aiming through.
Right. That's on the surface. The necklace is on the surface, but you're giving enough force to aim like down that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
just drive it. There's a beautiful moment for you where everything just focuses and clarifies and crisps up, and the sound of the lightning crackling through the bodies, the whirring, that pressure from the comet, it all fades away, and you just hear the satisfying tink of the end of the flail on the metal of the pendant, as the pendant is shot through with the force of godly strength through this man's sternum, basically, and out into the wet soil beneath him like a bullet. Just ting, and he buckles inwards a little bit. You see his shoulders dislocate, and his arms move too close together. And he just goes limp.
Damn, Kakashi, why'd you have to do reading like that? Chidori.
He just like the light drips out of his eyes, and you can see as the ties that bind retract into itself, a smoldering red light within his chest in the hole that you created, and the bodies stay up as he lies there dead. You watch as his form, his swole younger form, writhes as musculature leaks from his body like worms, and his skin sallows and his hair greys, and he returns to a desiccated, much older version of the man you met.
Even older than the old man.
Even older.
Damn, Tyro was already old.
You still have, what, 2 more attacks? 3 more attacks? Or you,
I guess I blew my loader.
The hit was required. I mean, you put him just over his maximum, so.
I'm pretty sure, and I will abide by this, that action surge is used as only attacks anyway.
Right. I think you just get your action back, but once you spend it for an attack, I think you can't unspend it and use the action like part way, basically.
Yeah, I think in the rule book,
is that the case?
and I think it makes sense that like it is used specifically for combat, specifically for attacking. Instead of that.
Either way, the done is done. The load is spent. Nope.
If it's...
You can use it for anything. You just take an additional action.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna... I'm going to ping my friends. But it's not going to be any words. It's just... Or maybe not even
Ünen marked himself as safe in the Brighthorn catastrophe.
Basically. Although I could see it, so...
So unfind my friends. We know where you are now.
Yeah. Okay, they're just standing there simmering, basically, in front of this still sort of wriggling, writhing mass of bodies.
And I look up.
You look up?
Yeah. Because I didn't spend
Really
a lot of
clock
time
it,
on
yeah.
what happened up.
Yeah, I mean, you can see there's
like,
still the cloud cover.
I'm gonna end this fool.
I am focused. Singular vision. Yeah, the cloud cover is getting a little wispier, but it's still kind of there, though you still see that spiraling hole through the top of it.
Yeah.
And way up, mostly obviously the sky is obscured, but you can see a small pocket of it in which this one star is bristling and flickering a little brighter than it should be. And it, as you look at it and can sort of sense its pressure as it resonates with yours, it feels good. It feels familiar. You feel almost like you're vibrating on a similar wavelength.
Daddy? I thought it was our shit mom.
But both of you have felt that way. On paying and sort of like acknowledging it, you feel it, and even if you look away from it, you can still feel that positive resonance within you.
Still doesn't mean it's good.
Can I? Or do I have to wait for my turn?
It's basically your turn anyway, because the thing that's going in between them, it does the thing and is doing it. So it's you.
I don't know why I sound like
My
a pigeon.
Spidey sense.
It's like
13.
you know when you like the old Batman or really old Spider-Man cartoon where you see their face like swirl.
Yes, and it swirls, yeah.
That's what I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
Ünen.
Meanwhile, back at the back page.
Literally.
Unen Law has something to do with this. I don't know how, I don't know what she's planning, but she is involved in this.
Is that the sensation of familiarity? Or is it not possible to
That's
distinguish?
all I'm saying about it at the moment.
Okay.
I feel like the gods sleep more so than the heart.
Are you reaching out? Are you trying to sort of like ping with the resonance up there? With the comet's resonance or the star's resonance?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will let you decide what kind of check that is. Whether that's you reaching out in terms of your own sort of tendrils of essence and god sleep and power, or whether that's just like the godly ping. However you want to try and interact with this energy.
Okay, so I am waiting for whatever this dude's issue is to come back to me. And I've got
Got
Yui
him on the back
here,
burner.
and I've got Yui with a hand on her shoulder. And I'm just gonna put my other hand up, and I'm going to let my black hot topic glitter. It's gonna like go over my eyes, so all you see are black starry like the void in my eyes. And I'm going. It's like when I do that, these tendrils of God sleep are like coming over, like what if you were outside you would see it, and I'm trying to like suss out,
Sort of,
like reach that way through this like ability, like through my connection through the God sleep that is up there.
Sure. Okay. Sort of like allow yourself to, connect with Yui here, who has a link to this whole thing, and then using just your nebulous power, your the unconscious consciousness out there to reach up towards it. Love it. You can. I think that's going to be an Ystävä check. As basically you rend the god sleep into some kind of like feelers, like metaphysical antennae.
Oh my goodness, this die is going to jail. Straight to jail.
Go to jail.
19.
19. Using the god sleep itself as feelers to sort of tether yourself to the god sleep and to use the god sleep to reach through almost. Am I getting the sense of that correct?
It's like, yes. Weirdly enough, I kind of imagine the tendrils kind of like snake tongues where I'm trying to taste it.
Okay, like,
Uh-huh.
What's the, yeah, okay.
Is it La or is it somebody else?
What's its
like
flavor?
Uro? Yep.
Yeah.
Tastes like bitch.
You can, as you're sort of flickering your god sleep tongues out there, again,
it's a really sussy episode.
Canon.
What do you want from me? This is where we're at.
A lot of licking going on.
I just okay.
There's a lot of tongue action.
That's
actually.
a lot of tongue
fair.
action
I didn't
this
plan
episode.
that
Yeah.
necessarily, but it's where we're at.
Very, very.
Yeah, you sort of taste this energy, and again, it's the first time that you're really interacting with it, and you two feel that resonance. You feel good, there's a familiarity there, or kinship. That's a better word for it. But it tastes completely new, like almost surprisingly new. If you are actually tasting this food for the first time, it's something that we no longer can experience. It's sort of like when you taste chocolate for the first time as a child, right? It lights up all those neurons, and that's the same sensation that's happening for you. Your godly planeswalking neurons are all firing as this is something new. And I'm not talking about like you made the snowfall new, or the planet is new, or you're experiencing things with mortals for the first time. This doesn't align with previous flavors of anything. The god sleep, La, Uro, the void, none of it.
Ooh, okay. I don't think it's Uro. I don't think it's La. I think it might be. It's new. It's. I don't know what it is. And then I'm going to prep Greater Restoration.
Great. Okay. You don't have to roll a con check to stay banished. Do the banished have to roll a save at the end of each? I think they do.
Actually, I don't believe so.
Nope, they're just.
As long as you can maintain concentration.
So funny.
If you maintain concentration, you're good.
Dope. Dope. He's just drifting.
I could then he could come back and then I could cast plane shift and just
send him
somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
He's going on a magical mystery tour.
Okay. So at the end of this first round, you, having pinged yourself, feel another ping, like a godly radar ping coming closer and closer as the air like sort of hurtles and a rush from beyond the hills as coming from the eastern horizon you can see a black speck like shooting across the way, hurtling again, rippling. You can hear the sound barrier like rupture as this black speck increases in size, as hurtling like a missile from across the eastern horizon, landing like the same right down onto the southern isle beneath you, on his haunches. Standing up from the wreckage of his own arrival is this burly-looking, tall-ish rabbit in a jet black Brooks Brothers suit, just like absolutely tailored. And he's a little kitted out. He has a whole like shoulder piece mantle moment that goes down over the biceps of the suit of like wrought stone.
Ooh.
With a little like semi-glowing magma holding the stones together.
Hanging out with me mom.
Has drip.
He was hanging out with me mom.
And he just like lands there, sort of pulls out the giant carrot, stabs it into the ground. Heard someone died.
There's a lot of death here.
1 second. He looks over to the like shriveled, dying Tyro. He takes the carrot out, sort of rubs the sides of it a little bit, and just stabs it into the body of Tyro. And then, as he pulls the carrot out, the body goes grayscale. Loses all color completely. Right. Now what? It leans on the carrot. So, Midnight has been brought here around early. Midnight did okay. What was your...
19.
He got an 18. So that works well for him. Midnight's here now at the top of the second round, and Hylan is incoming at the top of the third. So, Nevrik, you saw the I'm not even going to call it a battle, the slaughter of Tyro, and the arrival of Midnight here. And as you're standing there, that pressure increases a little bit. And this warmth, this sort of like beautiful pins and needles down the back starts to prickle up. And that sensation applies to all of you, actually. As Nevrik, as you can see, the bristling star is significantly closer. You can see this like almost starlight flare of corona flickering around this object in the sky. It's still too far off to see if there is an object in it, but you can see there's something physical surrounded by light descending from the heavens. What do you want to do?
I want to check it out. I want to get closer. I'm going to start flying toward it.
Okay, you just flying as yourself, just full Nevricking it at the moment?
Yeah.
Or are you planeswalker floating? How visible are your wings, is the question.
Not as... they're not the full... You know what? Fuck it. Like I said,
You're going...
when I was the horse...
Full send?
Yeah, full send.
Yeah, just, you know,
Wings
proper...
of fire?
Yeah. Oh, this is lightning.
Lightning? Wings of
Crackling
lightning.
Fire is,
Love?
Joy, I want to say. Joy or love. One of those. A good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, the feathers crackle with lightning as you just fly up. How far are you going?
Fire is love.
Are you Godspeed flying it, or are you...
Yeah, might as well. Just, no, because then I might overshoot it. I'm going to fly as fast as I can, as a normal flight
Okay,
speed.
so that's going to be like 120 feet
Yeah.
up into the air. Okay, so you just soar up there. Big, like only 2 wing beats taking you up as that, with each wing beat there's a rumble of thunder and lightning sort of trailing behind you. Roll me a quick perception check. Unless you're choosing to reach out with any other sense.
That's what I was going to do, actually. I was going to reach out through the elements and try and feel with, like, because it seems to be some kind of fire or some kind of energy within that that has something to do with it. So I was just going to reach out through the elements to kind of feel through.
Sure.
What it might be.
So just roll me a spellcasting check. 21. Yeah, you sort of allow that sort of the energy that you're radiating, that crackling lightning, to sort of wend out into the atmosphere and sort of use that atmospheric pressure to sense it and gauge it. And I can best describe it, it doesn't feel like an elemental energy. The energy that this thing is radiating off of is somewhere in the middle of the triangle between the outer sense of like pure cold, and then, so using that as one marker, the way Ystäva's magic feels as another marker, and the way Unen's magic actually feels as a third. It's somewhere in the middle of that cross section. And again, it's though those are good reference points, it's not like it belongs to any one of those schools, not even close.
I want to try and, well, I just want to see how harmful it is.
Okay.
I want to try and get close enough to touch it.
Alright, if you're trying to get close enough to touch it, that is going to be, at the moment, a Godspeed thing, because it's out of the atmosphere.
Okay.
At this moment. Roll me a... Do you remember what check I had you use?
For Godspeed?
For Godspeed in combat, specifically? Actually, no.
It was dexterity.
You aren't in combat. We're in initiative, but you aren't in combat. So you... And the area that we're talking about is much smaller than trying to just blink up, 50 feet. So yeah, you just let your senses stretch and bleed, and you focus on that point and just pull the space between you. You bend the world like paper and step across the gap and suddenly snap back right up near it, sort of matching its speed just a little below it and to the left, to your left, of this thing that is hurtling down. It is covered in this like white, bluish, opalescent light, and there is something solid in there that looks kind of like a large geode, almost. It's like half crystalline and half sort of goopy black liquid. The whole thing is wreathed in it, and I say goopy black liquid, but it's that's sort of the best way to describe it. It looks like jet black liquid, like wreathed with specks of light from all the light around it. And while you're right next to it, you feel fucking fantastic. It's actually similar to the feeling that you get when you're in your own prime domain, right? You feel supercharged and alive and crackling with potential. And with that Godspeed, I am going to have that be your round here.
Okay.
That's
fair.
But if the question was, does it hurt me to be near it? The answer is no.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Ünen. Midnight has landed next to you, resting arm casually on a carrot.
What a sentence.
Ystävä is in the church building over there.
Oh. Okay. Is everything all right?
No.
Looks kind of nasty, honestly. Anybody else getting hurt, or is it just this guy?
I'm about to hurt everyone. Someone better talk me down.
Talk me off the ledge.
Talk me off the ledge.
I'm gonna get to midnight in a second. What are you doing?
I'll be back.
Where are you?
At Godspeed.
Where are you Godspeeding to?
The place in the ocean. in which I had a vision.
Okay.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago, in fact.
This sounds like some backstory stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe. You had a water nap.
Okay. You just let your almost focus less on a place that you know and more on that vision itself, and just let the world bleed around you. The ground, these corpses, they all fade away. The last thing you can really feel is the bodies dropping as you flit into the deep dark of the water. And the water, you don't even feel any of it. You're just almost pure energy rattling down through the western seas, deeper and deeper into the pitch black of this terrain, until something far in the deep. There's no life around how far you've flitted as you sort of rend yourself back into a solidified planeswalking form. Something way down, past the point of water even having some kind of gradient of light. It's just ink down there. Something flickers in large amounts of bioluminescence. This radiating thing, like a pulse or a heartbeat, funnels down this coiled thing way down there. And as it flickers, you can see this outline of a huge, basically something that looks rather eel-like, but in colossal scope, still mostly shaded by and only unveiled by its brief pulsings of bioluminescence. Not in that same, or in that, like, the sensation of radiant resonant kinship that the comet was giving you. This is like genuine, like you can feel your power ebbing and flowing in unison with this thing down there. A sensation reaches towards you from this glowing eel, whatever it is. It is no words, it is just sense and vibration and force, but it translates in your essence to sibling of mine. What brings you home?
I must speak with Uro.
You seek creation, and you step foot at our precipice. The way to the Maker is through me.
It moves a little bit, just a bit closer to you. It must be like a mile or two down, but even that far, as you can see the outline of its like weird, many-eyed head sort of flicker in its own light as it sort of drifts up a little towards you.
What do you seek with our Maker?
Counsel.
Of course. Family must know one another well, and our wishes should be one. I am glad to see you once more.
And there's another ripple of that force, and you can feel what would be, if this thing had a form akin to yours, a warm smile. But this creature is not gifted with an expressive mouth. So, in lieu, it curls its massive body into a circle. And as it does so, as it reaches itself, again, it's just illuminated in the dark by those pulses of its bioluminescent, it clamps its unfathomable mouth on its own tail, and its whole body glows. And what could have been misseen before as just like ridges and bioluminescence bleeding through scales now are evidently runes all over its body that flare this bright green. And where there was darkness just in the gap made by its body that flares to life and opens this shimmering gateway. And you dive on through. Okay. With Ünen vanishing from your collective senses, Midnight, having just sort of seen Ünen go, should I be on standby? There's a whole lot of guys here. I think they're they look on edge. They're about to go. Should I come and collect?
Yes.
Stand back. And as the bodies are raining into the pit, basically, and they're starting to stitch to themselves of their own accord now, forming just like massive limbs of limbs with no seeming form in sight. Let me get the carrot stats up.
The carrot stats.
Dead root. Yep. I mean, we know Dan, right? Dan's gonna spend his 6 if he's been told to go for it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Midnight's just gonna hoist the carrot up onto his shoulder like it was a, rocket launcher or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he just smacks the side of the carrot and says, "Let's get to work." And from the carrot, he just fingers of death the flesh construct here. I have to look that up. Spell pit stop because I think it's a save, right?
Rules pit stop.
Finger of death?
Finger of death. Yeah, it's a con save. Cocked as hell.
What if it was a charisma save? Just like
Can you
randomly?
imagine? I don't want to. Dying, not for me, thanks.
Some saves are charisma based,
And you're like,
in
why?
those I'm like, what?
Does somebody feel like rolling 7d8 for me, please?
I can do that on my computer.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
7d8. Okay, hold on, we're almost there. 6, 7. We'll roll again, just 36.
And can you add 30 to that, please?
66.
66? Great. This thing, the flesh construct, just a beam gets blasted out of it as corpses or now proper corpses, where they weren't quite corpses yet, get blasted out the back of this thing's sort of form, as it takes a load of damage. That's put us at... Okay. And this thing sort of continues to try and stagger back together, still pulling corpses or almost corpses towards itself with that red energy. The little trinket, that horn trinket now, has been sort of dragged by the myriad hands into the form of this construct from Tyro's corpse. So again, things not going down so easy. It's a whole lot of things that have to die. Might be here a minute. Any chance you've got a plan?
I will be there soon. I don't know why I said it like law when I said that, but
you've been doing your law. So
yes.
Soon.
Okay. So that's gonna be Midnight. So Midnight's just like basically stanced up, still there, dealing with this construct. We then go to the person who was not seen last time, but was acting, and now is visible as they pull themselves out of the basically rubbles of bodies in this mass grave, sort of coming up through an otherwise fairly like covered up pathway that's only been exposed by the removal of bodies into this construct. Black-robed Luna steps up and out onto the ruin of the Southern Isle, holding a like metal sigil, sort of almost moving on its own, wreathed with some kind of red energy, and she shouts at the top of her lungs, "Everybody please stop! Let us explain ourselves! We are this close to saving so many people! Please, don't let it be for nothing now! If any of you are listening to me, give me a chance!"
Do we hear this even though we're not there?
She, by some form of magical means, her voice is being projected from somewhere. So it's easy to hear, even if you're not necessarily, like, You don't.
Yeah,
know.
I was like,
you don't hear it. And actually, neither do you. But Midnight and you, Ystäva, yes, you do.
Do I believe her?
You can certainly roll me an insight.
That was a weird roll.
Like, did the half pipe there.
That is... $25.
She feels like she's telling the truth.
Okay. Okay. A little bit of soft magic.
Please.
I'm going to scoop up Yui into my arms and teleport to this woman and, inspired by my dear friend Ünen, grab her by the throat and lift her up, and I'm letting my godly essence and like underneath the hood, because the hood is on, you just see it's like darkness and like the void swirling, but the eyes are like starfire. Speak quickly.
She you scoop Yui up, you flash warp down there in a single instant, sort of not even faltering as you come out of that minor godspeed to just get her up.
Mm-hmm.
And she's wide-eyed, half from the choking, half from the fact that she is engulfed in your essence. But she's, whereas Godwin, broke down, she is trying her hardest to maintain some sort of resolve. These people, they were sick. They were dying. I held them off. They held their own faith in that their sacrifices should mean something. Yui, her sacrifice, it has to mean something. For her own sake, we kept her safe. The blessing, it could have done so much.
Stop speaking in riddles and tell me what you're working toward.
We want to wish! And we want for it to mean something. I kept the sick and dying alive so that their last breaths wouldn't be writhing on their own deathbeds, and would mean something to call the star down to us, as opposed to losing it in the sea. Yui's dreams, we brought them forth into truth. So we know that star holds power. And why let it go to waste when it could be used by us to save others? That's all we wanted. Please. Please. And she can't. Her eyes are like almost blistering. She can't look at you for too long, but she's done what she can.
Midnight?
Hmm?
Thoughts?
Doesn't make much of a difference to me either way. Really, they were dying then, they're dying now.
Sometimes life ends. That is the way it works. You cannot prolong the dying and the suffering. This is not how you get what you want, and maybe you haven't gotten a wish, and maybe you haven't gotten an answer because you are not worthy. Do you think that this is the actions of one who is worthy?
No. No.
And now we have to come here and clean up your mess. Like the children that you are.
I'm sorry. I didn't. We could have done so much. We could have done so much.
There is an easier way to get what you want, and that's to ask and ask the right people, and obviously your saint was not the right person.
The little talisman she's holding, she drops it. And as she drops it, all that like red lightning, the vein-like red lightning that was crackling through the corpses just fades and ebbs away like somebody bled out. And as it does so, the corpses that were held in some ridiculous construct just drop. And even the bodies that were still clinging to some form of life in the grave, almost immediately there's a underscoring of choking coughs, last scrabbling breaths as the whole batch of them, in fairly quick order, expires. Which prompts Midnight to immediately start, fairly gently, honestly, going around this pit of bodies and just administering them, seeing to them, gathering them up. Almost, harvesting those, and that's too cold a word or cast of a word, but as you shepherd them when they are in the beyond, he shepherds them to the beyond.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he sort of immediately jumps to doing, almost distracted by it. And we are indeed out of initiative. As Luna basically just lets go of all resistance in your arms. And what that means for you, Nevrik, is that as you're following this falling star, it suddenly veers away drastically and starts almost plummeting and curving on its own axis and orbit, as opposed to this needle straight line that it seemed to be on. Are you still following it?
Yeah.
It's heading west.
Yeah.
Out west. But still falling. And you guys can still, or you can't. You can still feel it's that resonance and that sort of connection, that tether to it, even as it begins to list in the sky. Still growing closer and closer to the atmosphere and whatnot, but peeling out of place.
Mm-hmm.
And Yui on your shoulder stops convulsing. And her breaths start, instead of this they become a lot more open, but a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
She's still in your grip. The wheel started rolling and we could not bring ourselves to stop it turning. Please forgive us. Please.
I don't want excuses to be the last thing you say on this earth.
What would you have us do?
How many will be left of you after the dead pass?
Fewer than 100. It's hard to say.
I drop her so that she can
As a gesture, she lands sort of wherever near the sigil that she had, and she pushes it away. She takes the scythe off of her back, still clasped together, and lays it out in front of her as well. And she raises herself up on her knees and just sort of sits there, halfway looking at you.
The world is new. So are your people. And what little time you have of existence, you should not be spending it harming. In whatever name, or whatever greater good you concoct.
We did not concoct. I promise you this was done to give ourselves meaning. The people suffering from our plagues here, we forced this upon no one. And Yui, she was never given a choice. The fate did not let Yui decide on her own burdens. So we helped her as best we could. and gave herself and all of us purpose. Wrong though it may have ended, the road we started on was destined for greatness.
Some gods will not ever heed your call. That is the way of things. Others will. You happen to be speaking to one who listens.
And what would a god who listens have to say?
Sometimes to heal and to fix what is sick, you have to let it die. With death there is life. It's why the farmers burn their fields and the new growth begins. Do you understand? You need to let these people go. You humans can do great things. This is not one of them. And in return, for you never going down this road again, you will be given something. And I look to midnight. And is Hylan here yet?
I was about to say, Hylan is literally about to arrive, but I didn't want to interrupt this moment because it's hard to not interrupt with a world beacon.
Yui's dying.
You can absolutely feel it.
This is some soft magic, and you can tell me if I can do this or not. And if I can call out to the essence of my other two gods to help me as well, if that's possible. I want to lay Yui on the ground and cleanse her. And then with an essence of me and Midnight and Hylan and Ünen and Nevrik, I want to combine it and put it into her chest and make her a god.
Okay. I've been
Plant the
ready for
divine
this.
seed.
You could say no.
I'm not going to do
If
that.
you, because I had an idea as well to go along with this, because of this thing I'm following. How big is it?
As it is hurtling down towards you, it's sizable. It's at the moment looks city-sized.
Okay. I'm gonna cast reduce on it.
You can certainly try.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a save on that? I forgot to save for a comic. I've not done that before.
100%.
In fact, actually, before we get to any of this, what is your general idea?
Yeah. So what I wanted to do, I
I
wanted to basically decrease its size, and also, decrease its size, because it didn't seem harmful.
Mm-hmm.
It only seemed harmful if the impact hit Regulus. So I wanted to decrease its size and carry it down in my hands.
I'll say we can get to that, but I think this is happening more immediately.
That's what I said. I wanted to use it to help Yui, so that's all I was asking.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think this is the time is a little different.
No worries.
And you can also say, no, I'm not lending my essence.
That's exactly what I was about to ask the pair of you, is I think as you're up there, so you might be able to use some of its energy for sure, but the act of reducing it and bringing it is just too long. Even you, in a space we will talk about after the break, you both feel, and this isn't like the ping, this is like it's like playing your godly strings. There's like a twang in the back of your consciousness of one of your own, truly your own, requesting energy, requesting divine presence. And you can feel it's Ystävä asking to have this energy and something specific lent. So my first question to each of you is, do you choose to lend it?
Yeah.
Okay. As Ystävä is reaching out towards you, and you choose to accept this outstretched hand, what piece of your essence do you choose to give? Could be a memory, a power, an idea.
What I do is, I think this is the way Nevrik does things. I pluck off one of the feathers from my wing and just allow all 5 of the elements to flow through it. And then I just let it fall, and it's going to guide itself like a feather to where it's supposed to go to Ishtava.
You imbue one of your own pieces of, like, one of the part of yourself that really is emblematic of yourself. You energize it with the elements, and you let it drop, and it drifts for a split second before almost becoming essence and God speeding itself back down to Regulus. Midnight, still in the act of, like, reaping, basically just takes a moment, has one hand on, a passing body here, lifts Deadroot high, and lets some of that, almost the other side of it, right, the part of Deadroot and the part of Midnight's magic that is imbued with growth and change, the act of change. It's like the essence of crossing a threshold. Pass from his own essence into the carrot and drift into you. But, I think I'll since you're here and being part of this, before solidifying this ritual, what part of yourself are you giving to this ritual?
The blue tinted stars from the god sleep. I'd gather them up and combine it so that when she opens her eyes again, instead of cloudiness, it will be her eyes.
Okay. And as you're receiving this feather, receiving the essence of change, the godly threshold, there's a beam of light, multicolored light, radiating down from the clouds and just landing in the middle of the town square, right in front of the statue. And as this beam, which you would recognize well to be the world beacon, ceases and dissipates into that celestial liquid, standing there, almost as a mockery of the statue behind them, is Hylan. This tall, sort of well-built humanoid with horns set in, that tousled red hair, spear slung over the back. Huh. Sort of noticing all in front of him. You called?
Do you remember this place?
Ought I to? If I'm supposed to, I'm sorry. This seems like a bad time.
You are the patron saint of mortals, yes?
Sure.
These humans have been asking for you for decades, with no answer.
and they've turned to ugly action. And I'm not saying it's necessarily your fault, because they should take responsibility for their actions. But it would be good if you helped make it right. And this girl, I believe she can help us all. She sees things. And she was unjustly put in this situation.
Of course.
And perhaps it will show those that we can be as merciful and giving as we can at ending your very existence.
Hylan sees Luna, the one you sort of are focusing this on, nods at you. He walks over very gracefully. You know, solid footsteps, but they don't make much of a sound as he steps towards Luna, and he sort of leans down, gets down low towards her. I'm sorry I never heard your calls. Whoever you were asking for, it wasn't me. But you can ask for me now. I'm Hylan. It's nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. He'll be okay. He sort of just puts his hand on her back for a moment, and there's just a soft dappling of sunset colored light. And Luna stills. He'll be alright. Leaving her for a moment, he comes over to you and sort of sits down next to Yui, breathing very shallow now, but peaceful. As you've let your energy wend over her, a lot of her years of almost torturous disfigurement, doesn't disappear, but it just seems less irritated, less aggravated, has less of a hold on her. Her clouded eyes shut, really, at this point, as that starlight's breathing over them. Puts his hand on her as well. I don't know much about what I'm doing, really. But if you want me to help, I think I can.
Do you want to know a secret? I look over at Luna so she can't hear. I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. I just do it.
I can do that. I can do that. I think that's what I can give. That's what I can give. He sort of settles, and that sunset sort of dappled light radiates through his palm into her as he gifts, or just really transmutes, that essence that Hylan and himself, or themselves, embodies. The ability to choose, and the ability to have strength in one's own self and one's own decisions at this point. At least gifting a mortal the understanding of that. So, with the combined essences of yourself, the light from the god sleep, choice from Hylan, change, the threshold from midnight, and the flight of the elements from Nevrik. And as this small, ruined little village stills, how would you like to finish this ritual?
that one is kind of on her stomach and one's on like her chest. I would like to implore you to come and help us build a better world so that no child ever experiences what you've experienced. With your sight, your visions, in a new whole body, we can help humans and all sorts of races. But we cannot do it without your help. Let this be your choice. If you say no, you may pass on. But if you would like to fight for the living, and for that mortal will to endure that runs through me as well, then say yes. It is your choice. The door is open.
A moment passes as your words transmute from simple thought into energy and change. And the essence of the feather, the god sleep stars, the essence is provided by Midnight and Hylan, almost melt away and mingle into this just effervescence, this energy that you are imbuing into Yui. And for a moment that's all there is, just this vibrating energy, until something catches. And that vibration is met and mimicked by a resonance within Yui as that energy begins to seep into her, as her body accepts this change. And it starts slowly, from the sites where you've had your hands on or over her chest and torso. Her ruined skin begins to smooth and ripple out, imbued by the essence of Midnight's threshold, as her skin restitches and solidifies and smooths out into something not at all failing anymore. Almost as if her skin was replaced with a beautiful dappled liquid metal. Confines her body and reshapes it, basically, resets it. It reaches up tendril-like to her jaw, where it sort of just splays into her face but doesn't overtake it, like letting that change reset and smooth out her facial features into something that has not been battered and bruised by all that it has seen. And her eyes snap open, but in their place of these like cataracted, wounded, broken eyes are replaced with two gleaming, glittering blue stars. And the light that these eyes reflect, this twinkling, almost celestial blue, is refracted around her head as a thin, almost halo of blue light that instead of being up here, it's down here around the level of her eyes. And this blue light refracts into that one blue feather shimmering with the elements, which then settles down somewhere between her shoulder blades, still lying on the ground, that then blossoms and blooms like a flower into two beautiful wings that at first cocoon her almost, as the transformation continues, as that sunset dappled light etches its way through the fletching of all of these feathers and the angel wings, basically. So the halo continues to glow as that choice, imbued by Hylan and imbued by your words, takes shape and is decided. As her eyes flash clear, bright, brilliant blue, and the halo flashes to boot, as this feathered cocoon drifts up before the wings flutter open, reveal and like stay completely outstretched for a moment as this new Yui, glittering, shimmering like mercury in her own iridescent blue light, red hair now full into some form of braid behind her head, clothed in almost like half chainmail, half robe out of links of god sleep. As the wings then fold back, she touches the ground. Hello. I am Yui. I am that of dreams and that of sight. And it is good to see you. And that is where we'll take our break for the moment. We will come back from break. Only if you guys are okay, if you want to do like a quick 5, we don't even have to put the video on, just so we can like go to the bathroom, get a drink of water, and then tie a couple loose ends up here before we wind down for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to come back and look at a certain someone. So for those of you at home, just take a quick break. Let's be back at
8:50.
Yeah.
8:50. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat.
Please, happy to ask.
And thanks for the subscription, J-Topic, and welcome.
J-Topic.
Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you kindly, friends. See you back shortly. Get a snack, get a drink, refresh.
Gabagool.
Nice. Well done. Right, we are back. Hope you're hydrated. Hope you are snacked up. Because we're getting into it as a new god is born on the grounds of Regulus. In 2 different spaces, wheels are still turning. Nevrik, in the skies above Regolus, this colossal comet, imbued with some sort of unknown energy and awareness, hurtles down with you flying, matching its speed beneath it. It is careening off further west through the atmosphere, but at this point it has broken through the atmospheric layer and is just sort of, the tendrils of its own energy and light are sort of reaching out, and it's like Ystäva's godsleep tongues, flicking and tasting the air as this comet shrinks a little bit. It's now sort of like the size of a small like mountain or hill, and it's plummeting across the ocean.
So my plan here, we're going big or going home, right? So 9th level spell, we're going with true polymorph, object to creature.
Okay. What do you want to transmute the object into?
This will be the first Pegasus.
Ha! Perfect. Okay.
Other than myself, of course.
Do you have to touch it, or do you just have to see it?
It just has to be... Hold on, sorry, I have it open. 1 moment. As long as I'm within 30 feet.
Mm-hmm. Which you are. You sort of let your energy wend out, and you target the sort of geode-like crystalline rock part of this thing, and will it into the shape of that you took before, this flying horse now made of crystal and starlight. And as you pull away the stone and crystal of this thing and form the Pegasus out of it in the wake of this comet trail, the comet doesn't stop. You've just exposed its interior. As you melt the rocky outer shell of this thing, it exposes a humongous, basically, worm. It's this white thing, coiled and bent around itself like a huge pretzel, slumbering or otherwise unconscious head nestled into itself as this sort of organic boulder, basically hurtling through space, and its body is the same color as the sort of white wispy essence around it, and it seems to be exuding from this thing's flesh or form, and other than that, since it is wreathed in the energy, it's hard to make more out of it, but you've just now exposed it. It's considerably smaller now. I would still put it on the gargantuan scale, but it's no longer like a world-ending impact. It still hurtles. This crystalline Pegasus imbued with this energy floats along beside you, almost making these chiming sounds, like these beautiful alien wind chimes as it beats its wings and sort of looks to you.
I look at the Pegasus and I just issue, it's not even like through speech, just through like a connection, just one command, and it's to help this thing as it's falling, push it toward the ocean, away from land.
Again, that it resounds with that strange chime as it bows its head to you. A couple beats of its crystal wings, it flies under this falling worm and nestles its bulk between the ridges of its back and its wings and tilts it even further west and sort of pushes back up against it so it's not quite falling as fast. Combination of your godly command and your godly creation of it, along with it being formed from this mass, allows it to exert some sort of impact over this falling worm, and it continues to veer. Are you going to follow it?
Yeah.
Okay. It careens, Further and further, gently descending now, still at a great speed, but not quite as dire. Further west, as far as you can go. Till this Pegasus, this newly formed Pegasus, seems to determine a landing spot amidst the what looks like way out in the distance some basically you know when the undersea like vents and volcanoes spew magma and gradually it breaches the surface and you've got little, not even islands, but solidified volcanic rock in a shitty little peninsula.
Yeah.
Sort of one of those. And it seems to be guiding this falling object down to that spot. Sort of to maybe lessen the blow or some such, as opposed to just dunking it in the ocean. You gonna allow it?
Yeah.
Okay. With one final nod of assent and chime, this Pegasus sort of releases its weight from the comet, which hurtles and hits the rock. And this brilliant white glow washes over the planet, stemming from this beacon, piercing the sky from this one spot, so bright that you, all the way across the western seas, on the shores of Regulus, can see this beacon pierce the sky, and then a brief wash of energy. And there is a power that you feel just almost like a faucet that's been opened amidst all of you. Even you, where you are. For you, Nevrik, you can see as the light sort of begins to clear a little bit that the impact of this being has caused a serious divot amongst these little outcroppings to the point where it has displaced some of the water and a sizable island has formed around it. Amidst, in the center, basically a crater where this now sprawled, pale white worm still sort of lies pretzeled in on itself. And you too feel the power that is washed from its impact. The 9th level spell, Wish, is now accessible to you.
I wish for Law to get the fuck out.
Okay. And that's what we're going to hold you here, still flying above, with the Pegasus rising back to meet you. Ünen. Having willed yourself through the gateway opened by this aquatic kindred of yours, you find yourself in a space very much like a modern-day simulation of standing amidst the human brain watching synapses fire. It's this vast, deep royal blue space filled with almost tree-like nexuses of energy and light sort of thrumming and pulsing signals everywhere. It could be made of electricity even, or data, or code, and it spreads out everywhere. All these different tree trunks of spiraling fractaline energy amidst this seemingly infinite space that you specifically are sort of aware of an edge somewhere. And all of these trees of light and energy all connect to this massive sphere of iridescent emerald green crackling power far down below you, but big enough that it's all that you can, it engulfs your entire immediate foresight. And you know this power well. Its true source somewhere buried under layers of idea and concept and force and power.
Mm-hmm.
But in this space, you feel like you are very, very small and all at once contain multitudes, as the thing in front of you radiates understanding. What do you wish to convey to the vastness of energy before you?
don't understand them. I don't know what I was expecting. But there's so much deceit and misguided. I don't know what you would have me do, but I don't. I can't watch your creation eat itself.
The firing synapses sort of slow a little bit across the multitudes of them. And you feel a focusing of energy as if you were an ant under a magnifying glass. Before everything flashes for a moment. Just bright white light for a second, and then as it recedes, you are in a very sparsely, lowly, or what's the opposite of dense?
Light.
A not densely packed forest.
Angel food cake.
An angel food cake forest? Great. Yeah,
sparse.
Sparse.
There we go.
Yeah,
A sparse
I was like, what's the word?
forest.
Yeah.
A sparse
Pound cake.
forest. Trees
The
really
word for
far
it,
apart.
probably not.
Beautiful clear blue sky. Green grass everywhere. It's what the Heart Wilds looked like when you first found your way here and met kindred there.
Mm-hmm.
Though you don't sense the presence of the heart tree anywhere.
Yeah.
And as you stand in this field, your realm walking form, the slightly bigger with no eyes. I'm not talking like white eyes. There's just eyelids and nothing in them.
So like
yeah.
holes.
But and it's not even like dark, like skeletal pits or anything. That it's just like, well, of course. Why would there be eyes there?
Okay.
That's sorta, yeah.
Hate it.
But otherwise it's your drow-esque realm walking form.
Mm-hmm.
They're just slightly different, almost funhouse mirrored. And they stand there, observing everything with you. Changed a lot, hasn't it? Since, I mean.
Yes.
Do you like it better this way? Or the way it is now?
I don't know. Previously, I thought it was my duty to just love what it is. But that has become difficult.
Good. Good, that is useful. If you were given full control of their direction, these our creations, where would you have them end?
And
Yes, where would you drive them towards? You needn't decide upon that this moment, necessarily. But if you struggle watching them at all on the course that they're on now, you have my blessing to adjust it, correct it, as meticulously as you see fit. I fear my tools are grander than the ones you wield, and it is more fitting this way.
I have seen the meddling of ones like myself in there. I don't know if I don't have the temperament.
So you cannot stand to watch them, but you don't wish to alter them either.
I am in conflict.
So it would seem. Perhaps.
Why did you make me?
Why did I make you? You know. Part of you must.
I just don't seem to fit everything else that you've made. And I have a hard time reconciling that.
He looks out to the field for a moment, the other you. And when he looks back towards you, his form has changed. Instead of the funhouse version of your planeswalking self, there is a small child, comprised entirely of like scribbles of white-green light. You can sense childlike energy from them, but also a weight, a gravity, a force. And they reach up to you with their hand. Take it.
I take it.
This child of light walks you down the forest a bit, sort of into where it starts to get a little denser. In the middle of a small copse of trees here, there is a patch of grass that looks a little withered, a little rotted even, wilted and tired and fading. That grass is bad. It's not happy. Why? Why is it bad?
Because it does not have intention, so you mean bad as in why has it gone bad? Because it is temporary.
Sometimes they go bad faster. Sometimes slower. But this one, and the child points to one of the blades of grass in the middle that's like exceptionally rotted away, like chewed up, blackened, little seepage at the ends. This one was first. And it went all the way around, and now all of this went bad. And you, it takes your hand again and sort of pulls you down towards the grass, almost at its level, and takes your hand It makes you draw, just like trace a ring around the patch of sort of rotten grass. And as you draw that line, or as it makes you draw that line, in your finger's wake, a line of like searing green heat blisters all the grass around it, causing this scorched like moat between the healthy grass and the rot. And as the circle completes, the green flame flares up again and pulses inward and just turns that rotted grass to ash, leaving just soil in its wake. As it finishes the line here, lifts your hand up. That is what you do. You are different, and different is good. It helps. Now this grass won't go bad.
I understand.
Do not fear difference. That is not for our ilk. Do you wish I hadn't made you?
Things would surely be simpler.
But simple is no fun.
So you would have me do what I choose to?
Until otherwise said, yes.
I understand. What is it that was falling to the earth just now?
I think I dreamed it once. I thought it remained that way. Perhaps not. It is here now. It is not something I can remove. And nor do I think I wish to. Do you need anything else, child?
No.
Find Indra again if you should. Or I will find you if I am wanting some company. The child takes both of your hands again. And if you need time away, just go.
Thank you.
Good. Be swifter to act next time. And as it lets go of your hand, the fields wash away, and you're just in deep ocean again. Brighthorn. The clouds have wisped away completely at the breaching of that white beacon and the wish water washing over you. Yui 2.0 stands there or floats there, wings still tucked away, but just ever so off the ground.
Nui.
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 Nice! Fucking shred that narc!
Okay. Nui is sort of watching the beacon for a moment, then turns back to you and to Brighthorn. This place looks better than I thought. Brighter, maybe. Or softer, I can't tell. And you... I think I don't know how to say what I ought to say to you. And I can't quite remember why I need to say it. But I think I should be thanking you. So...
Sorry. What a moment, Ruiner.
It's the price we pay for all the perfect music timing.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. So
Come again.
Literally.
let me just say it now, and then perhaps we will be done with it. Thank you for whatever it was you did to her that I was. She's very grateful. I am very grateful.
I just ask one thing. Use your new gifts wisely.
I think I have an idea. Or it was given. I think I know what I want to do. Whoever is out there or ends up being out there like the girl that I was, this time they'll have me.
Good.
This time they'll have me. She looks around to sort of just take in the scene again. I think I might like to leave this place, though.
Me too.
At least for a time.
Without meaning offense, I think this place should be cleansed. I think the earth needs to be cleansed.
Of what?
The disease and the pain, to bring forth new life, healthy life.
So how do we do that? The Hylan sort of leans in. When you say cleansed, you don't mean... Because I don't know how I
don't mean that. Yet. But if, and I look at Luna, if any of you step out of line, it will mean that.
Luna is at this point just like basically trying to haphazardly and fruitlessly scoop earth onto the exposed mound of corpses. Basically. The only other thing of note is busting out of the tower, you hear a clattering. Like a clattering and a cluttering and a breathless, half-armoured, maddened Godwin on the balcony of the tower.
He's this campaign's Rittenhouse.
He hollers out over everything. People of Brighthorn!
It's always the paladin.
It's always the paladin.
It is. It just is. People of Brighthorn! These traitors lie in our midst. These false gods. They have deceived us. They have taken us from the path of the light, and we will do them no kindness!
Can I do something?
Please.
I shift into that very tall, handsome, dark-skinned man that I was using to fuck with these two in my domain, in a suit that is immaculate and kind of looks like Midnight's. And I throw him
definitely gonna go
guys look like straight up Men in Black right now.
Midnight just in fact gets up and like gives you your like whatever your second is, you know.
Keep my wife's name
out of your
topical.
If the rabbit had shades, the rabbit would put them on.
Yeah.
And I say, I may be merciful in my male American accent. That is this version of Ystävä.
Yeah.
But I do have a line. And I'm going to cast Plane Shift on him. And I'm going to send him... I'm going to, because I just like the spice, I'm going to send him to the magic plane.
Does he have to...
I have to make a spell attack.
Yeah, you can go for that.
I don't know if it'll work.
I don't think you need to worry about it unless you crit fail.
Didn't do that.
Yeah, I think I hit. Probably. Let's see.
What's your...
Let me just look up plane shift for 1 second.
26.
26? Plane shift. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they... Okay. I just don't know why I do it when he has cocked it up.
It's him yelling traitors at a group of gods.
It's like, I own you.
Literally.
You're just like, I may be merciful. What was the end of the line?
But I have a line.
But I have a line. Again, for the second time today, you just flick your wrist and that nebula mist passes over him quickly and you hear, no, not again. Just...
We'll see him again, probably.
Gone.
I can't wait to see him again.
He's gonna become some kind of lich.
Vanished into somewhere, in theory, the plane of pure magic itself. And Yui tilts again, seeing everything through the lens of that tilted halo. Oh, that's much better. That's much better. Yeah, we could stand to do a little cleaning down here.
Mm-hmm.
I can help with that if you like.
I would love that.
Unless you're still going. Can I do something wild?
What has stopped us before?
If we want to,
Can I do something wild?
So, am I back in the...
You're in the
Tyro
ocean.
plane? Okay.
Yeah. Where you found Indra before.
I nod to the sea serpent and thanks if I still see them. No.
You tip your hat?
I nod to nothing.
Milady.
I want to rocket up out of the ocean, out of the atmosphere, into space.
Man of Steel it, basically.
Oh yeah, that was the visual.
Yeah.
I want to. And if this, I want to use the power of my god core, and am okay with it, taking, sacrificing into god sleep in a sense, to. I want to make an anti-hearth. That is the moon.
I'll help.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Like,
as long as one of the craters is shaped like a middle finger pointing at
Yeah,
Allah.
please.
As a, and I guess the anti is not exactly the correct idea because
a foil, basically, to the hearth.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the sense, like, because, and as the like, as pure energy is like just leaking out of the god core, Ünen expresses his ping to
Power Rangers.
to his friends on Earth, or Regulus, and to the hearth, very specifically, and just says, "This is my will," and just
Yeah. So I'm not even going to have any rolling for this necessarily. With the literal consent of the two gods at the table, just like that awareness and connectivity between the three of you. In the wake of this comet, with some of that wish energy still lingering in the air, pieces of the rock left in its wake as it fell, along with just your force and from chunks of the cosmos, you, charged by the rage and all you felt and told to do what you want to do by your creator, you zoom out of the ocean like a bullet, up and into the upper atmosphere, and proclaiming your will, forge what appears in the sky, and you can see it, as this glittering silvery white orb. And within it, you form effectively a demiplane. And as it solidifies and seals and flickers across the sky, you all feel a shift. Like it's like a vertigo moment in the three of you, as you just feel something almost internally and externally within your outer consciousnesses, something move and shift and click somewhere else. And as soon as that shift settles within all three of you, you all feel strong and grounded and firm, as your prime domains have just found their new resting place. Whether that was intentional on your part or otherwise, they have moved.
it was intentional, or it was wanted.
And as you stare at your creation, and Ystava, you see Yui not only taking stock of what she's thinking and what she sees, but coming to rest a hand on Hylan's shoulder, and them almost sharing a little nod. Nevrik, hovering above this island and the crater, this white worm seems to stir a little bit and pivot and look up, and all of its little eyes open all over its bulbous, rounded, fleshy head as it looks up at the new moon. Beautiful. And that's where we'll pick up next week, as we wind down with the gods.
Should you explain that?
Yeah. So here's what's happening. For the folks at home and the folks listening later, the great experiment of the epic level campaign happened, and we went wild with it. And it just, we don't feel like we get to stretch our muscles enough, right? And that's a fairly ubiquitous feeling. So we've come up with the future of the Regulus campaign, at least for the foreseeable future. We're going to have next week, which is going to be spent as a capstone, tying up what we want to tie up, finalizing these little story beats, and also whatever your last moments role-playing the gods for now wants to be, just to set the stage for Act 2 for Regulus, yet to be named. Maybe. Some such. Yeah.
Exodus column brotherhood.
Yeah.
Colon brotherhood.
We are going to then spend the week in between, after next Monday, basically talking as the four of us and chatting with Diane and Woody as well about what the ripple effects are from the gods from these events, and basically how the next probably hundreds of thousands of Regulus years of history are shaped, so that when we come back, we're going to be spending a good few weeks in Act 2 in the world of Regulus as human beings who have grown up and existed. Mortals. That's the better word for it. Mortal beings, or some variation thereof, who have lived in the world long since affected by these gods and their legacies, and get to explore that on a more grounded, boots on the ground D&D sort of level, just so we can do what we like to do, basically.
Yeah, because we created the sandbox. Now we get to play in said sandbox.
Yeah, we built
for at least Act 2.
Mm-hmm.
Act 3 is pending. Yeah, maybe could be.
There's a potential for Act 3, but at the very least, at the end of the day, I have a time limit on my time as DM here because I have a gig that I'm going to be doing in July, or late June, or whatever it is. So I'm going to be running the gamut till then, and that's what we'll be spending on our Act 2 of Regulus in the future for then, basically. So that's what we're setting the stage for. Needless to say, next week we'll be saying goodbye to our gods, to the new gods of Regulus. For now. Saying
we'll be in Act 3.
See you soon. See you next time.
Don't go far, basically. But that's where we're at. That's sort of what is on the forefront. So it's definitely a good time to get in on the ground floor of the Bards New York Discord, because there's as we solidify the world, we'll love to hear what you guys think. To be honest,
some myth creating would be really fun to do.
That's another huge part of what we're looking at to do. Is how you have all these stories of, well, one time Orion the Hunter walked in on Artemis doing Artemis things, and Artemis got angry and yeeted him into the stars. We're going to be making stuff like that, like the myths of these gods as time passed, interacting with the world as it had already been formed, as opposed to while it was forming. Because that's more fun for us to have on the back burners, for then to play in that world that's then fully formed. So that's the next goal. But wild session today, guys. Good stuff. You took the note of swing for the fences and leave it on the fences. Good stuff. That's all I've really got for today.
Nice.
I think we've said it all.
Yeah. I think we went for it. Are we gonna raid anyone?
We're gonna raid someone.
Let's raid.
We will see you next week on Monday,
we will.
and see you all on Sunday over at Legend of Alos' stream at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in between those times, see you on Discord and on Insta.
Yeah, everywhere.
Show your friends and family that you love them.
Be kind to one another. Always important.
Mm-hmm.
One act of kindness.
Even if they thought the last season of Game of Thrones was good, which is a red flag. You still gotta love them.
No, listen. We all tried to justify that last season. Every single one of us said, hey. In fact, our dear absent Woody was, for a minute, he almost convinced me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because he almost convinced himself.
I mean, I was with Woody watching the last season, because that's when we lived in Harlem, and it was a topic of discussion.
All right, gang, we will see you next week
/
Sunday. Love you. And you can go to the see you next time.